Hello, welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam. Today I'm playing a little modern, and I'm playing a Bloodbraid Elf deck, but a really interesting one. This one is a Tribal Zoo deck. For those of you that didn't play Extended many years ago, Tribal Zoo was sort of a staple of that format. 4 to 5 color aggressive deck that gets to use Tribal Flames as a 2 mana to 4 or 5 damage burn spell. Usually they were 4 colors and just had one like red black or red blue land to potentially Tribal Flames for 5. This version is 4 colors in the main deck and splashes black in the sideboard for the flashback on Lingering Souls and Thoughtseize. I believe it was some discard spell. Yeah, Thoughtseize. It's interesting because the deck just has so much burn now. Between Bolt, Helix, Tribal Flames, and Boros Charm, and then Mantis Rider and Bloodbraid Elf as haste creatures, there's just so much reach. And that means that like if they don't deal with your turn 1 creature, and there's a lot of them, or don't deal with a Tarmogoyf for basically any of your other creatures that they don't deal with immediately, and they get in an attack and function like a burn spell themselves, your opponent's going to have a hard time winning. As for this hand, not having a 1-drop is a rough start. We are on the draw, so we'd be starting on a turn 2 Helix, presumably, for a creature. I just don't think that's strong enough. I think we need to really start on turn 1 and can afford to mulligan 7-card hands that don't. Well, yeah, I can't really keep this 5-lander on 6, even though Bloodbraid Elf is probably the best card in the deck. Now I really wish I had just kept 7. This hand's fine, though. One thing you have to be careful with in a deck like this is to fetch appropriately. So the key is keeping in mind what your gold cards are, and ours are red-white, as you can see in our hand, and then red-green and blue-red-white. So we really don't want to get Sacred Foundry. And we don't really want to get Stomping Ground, because that makes casting Bloodbraid Elf awkward. But by the time we cast Bloodbraid Elf, we'll have drawn 2 more lands, so that shouldn't be an issue. So I think we can just get Stomping Ground and a blue-white land and Hallowed Fountain. And then from there, we're going to need to get either blue or white to cast Mantis Rider, and either red or green to cast Bloodbraid Elf. So that's a bunch of different options that will satisfy that. Either way, this is a keep. Do I want to keep a forest on top of my deck? Probably not. We have enough mana to function right now. The forest doesn't really help us cast Mantis Rider, which would be the next thing up. So it's actually a pretty weak land here. Okay, a tapped Water Grave. Trying to think how that changes things. Do I get like Temple Guard and Steam Vents now? There's no way I can pace my land so that one can enter tapped, because that requires getting Sacred Foundry, because that's the one land that casts both of the creatures I'm trying to cast. And then Sacred Foundry doesn't let us cast Lightning Helix while getting 4 land types off of our 2 lands. So I'm going to be taking 6 anyway, which is fine. My opponent's probably a controller mid-range deck, and we have a little bit of life gain anyway. So I guess I'll just stick with my plan of Stomping Ground, Hallowed Fountain. After a little while, it becomes playing these kinds of decks, it becomes pretty clear what combinations of lands are best overall. It just takes a little bit of practice, and so you don't have to spend too much time thinking at the start of your turns, but given that I am not very well practiced with this deck, I want to put some thought into it. Snow-Covered Island. Is my opponent just being a little cheeky? Are they playing Gifts Ungiven? Search for Azcanta? Jace Vryn's Prodigy. Well, that is a very good card, and I prefer my opponent not have it, so let's get the Hallowed Fountain. Where are you? There we go. And Lightning Helix this. It's not likely that the card transforms next turn, but This is also the most mana efficient play. Next turn I can... Oh, I guess I can't play Loam Lion and Boros Charm the same turn. Yeah, because I drew Steam Vents. That's a kind of a tilt. Here's the search. Okay, well, hopefully this gets in and doesn't get fatal pushed. Then I'll just have to settle for Loam Lion Go. Am I supposed to play the Loam Lion on turn 1 there? As a result, I think I'm more likely to draw a red but not white land than I am to draw a white not red land, which are the two variables. Our opponent bins a Liliana of the Veil, which I'm okay with. And I imagine they'll aim a removal spell here at one of our creatures. I wonder if they didn't have this tar pit, and that's why they binned the Liliana. Maybe they have a counterspell now? It's fine. I'm a little worried about this Field of Ruin. There are a good number of basics in this deck, which tribal zoo decks in the past have not had. I think I have a forest and a plains. Yeah. And given that I have Steam Vents that replaces both blue and red, it's unlikely that they deal with the Steam Vents. Okay, well, I guess that's wrong. This seems like a weird card to hit because it doesn't cut me off of any color potentially. It also now lets me just cast this Boros Charm. So let's float a red. This might end up being a costly mistake for my opponent. Yeah, getting white here is definitely better than getting plains is better than forest because I can still cast Mantis Rider with the plains. So, and it lets me cast the Boros Charm. Is this a spell snare? Yeah. Oh. Not a bad use of the Field of Ruin by my opponent, being able to do it and cast a spell snare and trade for my play, but I think they targeted the wrong land there. Now with my opponent on 8 life, this is getting interesting. They've been a creeping tar pit, so we're getting a random draw here. This is probably a Serum Visions. No? Uh-oh. Damnation? Hasse. Into Brainstorm and then Fatal Push. That would be pretty good. Do I just go at them? Probably not. I don't. They have the Fatal Push. They're going to be at 6. I think if I was able to put them to 3 or 4, then I'd be more inclined to start going at them. They still have 3 cards. Getting the Jace off the battlefield if they don't have a push is very nice. Ooh, one thing I did, getting the plains does make casting Bloodbraid Elf harder, but I think almost all my other lands make either red or green. So I guess, yeah. Looks in a Godless Shrine? Yeah, the one Godless Shrine being the lone exception. So as long as that's not the next land we draw, we'll be able to cast the Bloodbraid Elf. They do have the Fatal Push. And Curd Ape. I guess if they have another Field of Ruin and they hit the Stomping Ground, then I can get the Forest and my creatures are still big, but then I'll be off the red mana. And now they can transform this Search because of the push. I'm actually less happy that they keep a card on top. If they're willing to do that, that means it's very good. And they knew it was there, right? Because of Jace. That means they have a lot of good cards. So if they had a bad card, they could easily stack it there and just mill it away. So this is definitely at least one bottom, I assume, yep. And they bottom the other one. Because they're going to draw one of the cards they put back and then see the other one off the scry. Another removal spell here. Heart of Kirin. Well then, are they willing to lose their Jace to crew the heart? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they just have another Jace in their hand. I draw this Mantis Rider, so I have a couple options. I can just attack with the two power things at them. They might protect their life total, sacrificing this Jace, and go to 6, and then play Mantis Rider post combat and have 5 power here, and hope they don't have another way to crew this heart. I guess they do. They even if they have no Planeswalker, they do have this Tar Pit, which is bad news. So I think I should just get the Mantis Rider down and get the most damage in now, because they're pretty incentivized then to lose the Jace, which is good. They eat the Mantis Rider, take 4, go to 4, and now I have them close to burn range. Not really, because I only have one Boros Charm left in my deck, but I have to find 1 point somewhere and a burn spell. That seems doable. So, Mantis Rider. Attack with all at you. Yep, they do throw the Jace away. Oh, I guess they're going to transform this, so they're going to have plenty of ways to transform this Heart of Kirin. So this is not good. I wish they'd kept that fetch and brought themselves to 3. It's important here that my opponent's mana base has dealt them 0 damage this game. If I had dealt them 1, I'd be in a much better position. Now they get to plus this Jace, shrink one of my creatures, animate Heart, attack me, and have... so they're turning the corner pretty quickly here too. Because they're going to have a blocker back for my other thing. And they have the Azcanta transformed. Okay, I'm pretty happy to see this main phase. And very happy to see them hit Serum Visions, a card that does not impact the battlefield. I need to get pretty lucky here. Top is not me getting lucky. Nor is Field of Ruin. Surprised they wouldn't Field of Ruin on their turn on this Stomping Ground, because they know I can only replace 1/2. Also surprised they wouldn't attack with this Heart. So they're playing pretty conservatively, which likely means they just have me covered. But I will soldier on. If I can get a 4th land and Bloodbraid into a burn spell, might be able to surprise them. But we'll see. Field of Ruin. Yep. It's a shuffle effect for Jace the Mind Sculptor too. Field of Ruin is just a really good Magic card. Serum Visions, you don't say. Bottom top, that's not the worst. Ashiok does not impact the battlefield immediately. They hit a Wild Nicottle and 2 lands, it looks like. Oh, geez. Wild Nicottle, Boros Charm, Lightning Helix. I guess I couldn't cast those burn spells now that I don't have red mana, but... Okay. I don't think it... Oh, I guess, yeah, Verdant Catacombs doesn't get a lot of red sources. I don't actually have a lot of red sources left in the deck. It's just Sacred Foundry and Blood Crypt, but... So I guess I got Blood Crypt. We'll pay 2 life. Opponent probably just has Cryptic in hand, which is a nice all-purpose cover here. Let's cascade into a burn spell, please. Or Mantis Rider. That one's not great. It is, however, a thing. Counterattack my team. Logic Knot. Okay. So I can get 2 damage in here by throwing away a creature. And I think that's worth it because my next attacks are going to be... My attacks just keep getting worse, so I think just getting them into burn range is important. If I wait, then they get to... The Jace takes care of one creature, this Nicodle now checks my Nicodle, and then they have Heart to block something else. So if they have any other thing in their hand, I can't get any more damage in. So we'll turn Bolt and Helix on as outs. If only my opponent had dealt themselves some damage here. And most modern decks help you out. Not true for my opponent. Very key this game. What did they just target? Targeting Fatal Push, sure. Yep, that is a thing. Now Liliana, see, so I'm really glad I just got that 2 damage in. Because now all my attacks are just dead. 1/1 Nicodle. Burn spell, please? Nope. Can't really beat another Field of Ruin, which is also awkward. Still just not attacking without Heart of Kieran. They've been very conservative. I feel like they could have actually just closed this game out by now. And instead, if they just don't find a counterspell, I might be able to steal it. Granted, they have 9 cards to find a counterspell. There's a Fatal Push. That's not a counterspell. They probably have 1 more turn, right? They're just going to deal with my last creature and attack me for 7 and leave back some blockers. 1 more turn. They exile 2 Tarmogoyfs and a Windswept Heath. That's good. They discard probably a dead land to this Liliana. Okay, dead Heart of Kieran, sure. Now they are animating Heart. Okay, well, they're going to give me an extra turn. Happy about that. Okay. Burn spell. I should probably let the Cascade trigger resolve first, but not a burn spell. Cast a Wild Nicodle. I doubt they care about either of these. Liliana trades for 1. Jace eliminates the threat of another. And they put a Tarmogoyf onto the battlefield to check the other one. And still have Heart of Kieran. So, looking grim. They have Fatal Push in hand. I just found a Logic Knot. That'll lock it up. I'll give them some... Yeah, okay, and another Field of Ruin from a red source. Okay, I'm just not going to play this out. Roll to 5, and we got pretty close, I think, there. And I want to say that we had a draw on that last turn. I don't think they had a counterspell, but I think they also gave us an extra draw step or 2 that they shouldn't have. They just got more aggressive with Heart of Kieran and Jace Telepath Unbound. As for sideboarding, Lingering Soul seems fairly good. And Molten Rain seems fairly good. Cards that do not seem good are Boros Charm and Lightning Helix. Don't really think I want to bring in Grudge. Not sure if I want to bring in Thoughtseize. Like they could have some stuff like Damnation, but that's about it. I think this is more for combo decks. If they do have Damnation, maybe I want some number of Boros Charms. Deals about the same amount as Tribal Flames. Flames could kill potentially kill a Heart of Kirin, although it's going to be hard to do that. And who knows, the 5th point that it sometimes deals might be good enough. But I think protecting from a sweeper is pretty nice. So let's try Boros Charm. Might be bad. Either way, I will play first and have another unplayable hand. This is one of the reasons you don't play a lot of basics in these decks. If this were a white-green land or a white-red land, this is close to a keep. Maybe not even, but it's definite mulligan now. There's the other basic. Also, it's basic forest with 2 Mantis Riders. So, pretty much the worst possible. So, let's go to 5 again, see if we can put up a better fight. Pretty good 5, even though my scry is going to be irrelevant because I want to get the coddle down. I guess I want... it does matter whether I get green, red, or green, white because I have Bloodbraid Elf. So I want to get green, white, and red, blue. Oh, or maybe red, black. Which means I want to sack this Heath for Temple Garden first. So I'll keep. This doesn't matter. And Temple Garden, please. So I guess I'm priced into getting Blood Crypt here instead of Steam Vents, which is fine. I just need to make sure I get a blue land with my next one. Okay, they've dealt themselves a point. That's better than the last game. And we're going to get to attack with this Wild Coddle, which is also great. They split the scry. Okay, well, there's the Mantis Rider we want to play. Blood Crypt tapped. Mushy for 3. Please don't have engineered explosives. I imagine this is a removal spell coming. I missed the land drop. Hitting a 3rd land there would have been pretty key. Get in 6 here through a removal spell. There's push. Take 3 though. Wonder if they have Snapcaster in this deck when they already have Jace. Oh god, Field of Ruin is just so good. I just can't ever beat this card. I also don't have a basic mountain. Just gonna fire off this bolt. Getting Temple Garden is definitely a liability against Field of Ruin. Because now I'm stuck on 2 colors. I'm gonna get Plains because it casts. I guess they both just cast Mantis Rider poorly because this is only white for Mantis Rider. Could I have done that better? Could I have gotten green, red, and... Yeah, I should have gotten... No, green, red, blue, white with Bloodbraid Elf. I guess with Bloodbraid Elf in hand, it probably didn't matter. I probably should have done that anyway. Green, red, and blue, white would have been better. Because then I can at least replace one of the colors and have 3 on the battlefield. Sure, I'll get the Plains. Since it's better with Coddle. Probably have a Fatal Push too. Yeah, now we draw the land. Can't cast Mantis Rider. Just getting punished. I guess this can turn into another point if I crack it now. Get the Steam Vents. Hope they don't have another push, and they do. And we're in rough shape. Probably misfetched my land here this game. I think if I'm able to play Mantis Rider there, and... Oh, God. Oh, Field of Ruin. I just cannot beat you. Into a Jace. That is mighty good. So this can't even get... Oh, this can get Yeah, stomping ground. If I hit a removal spell for this Jace, or a Curt Ape. Attack you for 3. I think if I'm able to cast Mantis Rider last turn, they're at 1 right now, and I might win that game. Sack the Curt Ape. Much easier to Fatal Push that one, but I'll probably just plus the Jace here. Yep. They have 3 cards in hand. They just discarded a Dispel, which seems like a card they would want to keep if they were worried about burn spells. So I have to imagine they have another counter spell. I think I'm just going to attack the Liliana, even though I could just attack them and try to bolt them right now, get them to 3, and hope a burn spell finishes them off. But I just don't think that's likely given that they discarded Dispel. With 3 other cards in hand. And they've seen the burn that we have. But yeah, I think I would have won this game actually if I fetched in the beginning differently. Didn't realize Temple Garden was so bad against Field of Ruin until it was too late. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll hope for a good string of draws here to potentially get back into it. Some Bloodbraid Elves would be nice. Heart of Kieran is nigh unbeatable. And another Jace. That one's not too threatening. It does check the Bloodbraid Elf. Play Curt Ape here. I could see them just using 1 Jace Telepath Unbound, flashback push on it. Then minus off that Jace, bring it to 3 to crew the heart and get in for 4. Then flip this other Jace and plus it on Bloodbraid Elf. What if I do nothing? I don't really see that working out better. But yeah, I think this game's just going to come down to my misfetch on the first 2 turns. Did not think about Verdant for Stomping Ground, Heath for Hallowed Fountain. Which is probably the best 2 land combination. Yep, they are doing exactly what I said. They probably don't even transform the other Jace. Yeah. Now that I think about it. Yeah, take 4. And another Mantis Rider. Now I'm at the point where I just have to hope they don't have a counter spell that I'm near positive they have. This turn they could just minus that Jace on the other push. The Jace leaves the battlefield to turn on Revolt and deal with the Bloodbraid Elf. But that might just be unnecessary. Yeah, I mean the 1/2 Bloodbraid Elf isn't really doing anything against 2 potential blockers for it. Oh geez, I'm at 4 already. Okay, bolt you. Hope by some miracle you'll have 4 bricks. Yeah, another Dispel, which means they probably have another Counterspell too. And that is a Loam Line. Okay, well, this is a game where, I mean, it's easy to blame the fact that I mulled to 5 twice, but game 1 was really close, and game 2, I'm pretty sure I win if I just fetch the right lands on the first 2 turns. And I just blew it. Spent all this time talking about how important it was to fetch the right lands and how much time you should spend thinking about it, and then I just screwed it up. So I guess at the very least I illustrated my point. Finding the right lands is very important, and I did not consider Field of Ruin, even though it clearly was in my opponent's deck, and we saw it in game 1. We got maximally punished. I also went to get that extra point in, and if I don't do that, I at least get to get 1 Mantis Rider down. That also might make a difference. So little things, even when you mull to 5, can cost you games. So hope you have learned from my mistakes, and hope you enjoyed watching. Come back and see me on Wednesday. Bye.